Now, I am now with the president and artistic director of the music hall, Vince Paul. Welcome to Detroit Performs, man.
Thanks very much. Welcome to the music hall.
Thank you for having us, man. Now, this place has quite a bit of history, right?
Yeah, it goes all the way back to 1928.
Okay.
It was built by a woman in 1928, Matilda Dodge Wilson. She built the music hall and she built Meadowbrook. Same architect, William Capp.
Okay.
And what's really extraordinary about Matilda was this is the first real legitimate performing arts center in America that had open access. That means anybody arriving, could come to the music hall and with the same quality of seats, same experience as everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Now, it wasn't always used as a live stage though, right? Like it was actually used for something to keep the ceiling structure intact?
The ceiling itself is kind of a trick of the tail. Walt Disney, as in the Walt Disney Company, they developed their surround sound and they installed it here in the music hall in Detroit City. And then they installed this enormous Cinerama screen that wrapped around the entire stage house, but also right where we're standing. It wrapped all the way around the travertine. Mm-hmm. And they painted the whole place this kind of brown color. Mm-hmm. So people, were very, very upset when they painted the ceiling that brown color. But boy, did it come in handy.
Yeah.
Because when they went to restore the ceiling in 1994, there was the original ceiling underneath that brown paint.
Now, what are some of the acts that you have performing here?
Well, we have 3 levels. We start downstairs with the Jazz Cafe. There have been 20,000 artists that have performed in the Jazz Cafe in the past 5 years. So it's a very labor-intensive room. And then we move into the main hall here. Yeah. And the main hall, we do stage plays. We ran Fela, the Broadway musical, for a month. It's not a small house. It has 1,731 seats, but yet it feels real intimate, like you're in your own living room,
Yeah. So speaking of the Jazz Cafe and the music hall and the 350 Terrace, what would you say is so important about them to the music hall and the city?
Well, the 350 is our latest. It is a nightclub, which means we really draw the young folks, and they're dancing, and we do concerts up there, and I think it's our reach into all of the different demographics and cultural points of view that is our number one niche or contribution.
What's your vision for the future of these venues around here, these performance arts venues?
I think that we should join together, and we certainly are working towards that. It really comes down to taking all of the abundance that's happening here and inviting everyone, not being venue specific. We join all of these houses. We could call it Detroit Center for the Performing Arts. And yeah. I think that's really, it would be a great initiative. I really see that Detroit in general, philosophically, is that's a big part of its vision, its new vision of the new Detroit, is we are all working together to make one great city, one unified community.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that.
Fragmentation.
Well, thank you, Vincent, for joining us here. We appreciate that. Thank you for spending time with us and informing us about this building, man. We appreciate that.
Sure. Thanks very much for having me.